So we'll be looking at stories on the various news portals very soon. But before we do that, though, let's look at a few of the newspapers we have. Actually, we have only three: the Daily Graphic, the Ghanaian Times, and Daily Guide. I'll start with the Daily Guide. It has on the front page, Konedu joins presidential race. You have a picture there inserted of Nana Konedu Agyeman-Rawlings, a former First Lady of Ghana, getting that very endorsement there at an event that took place over the weekend. And then also we have her children, Amina and Yad Santwa, in support. And we know the other daughter is Dr. Zaneto Rawlings, who is contesting as is the parliamentary candidate for the NDC for Klote. We know NDC founder was also there, and that's her husband, and Jerry John Rawlings also inserted in that very picture. We have gunshot at Asawasi over registration, and it's inserted the bloody face of a victim. Now let's look at that very story. It's on page 7, I believe, and page 3 of the paper, because we know that the event is ongoing, so we'd want to see how relevant it is for our times, especially when we know that the conflicts are ongoing over just registration. Many keep wondering, especially on many other platforms on social media, what will happen in the main election. I guess that's for another debate. But it says the Asokore Mampon Township in the Asawasi constituency of the Ashanti region on Saturday was a scene of chaos after armed policemen fired gunshots to scare away a group of hoodlums who allegedly tried to interrupt the limited voter registration exercise. And the venue of the exercise was reportedly turned into a boxing arena after stoutly built men known to many of us in local parlance as macho men, purportedly from the NDC and MPP, they exchanged blows. It resulted in some bloody confrontations as well. So that's a story on the front page of the Daily Guide, and we have to look at the front page of the Daily Graphic as well. It says economy to grow in leaps and bounds. A story source to the president, and we know the president was former guest of honor at May Day celebration that was marked in Wa, the Upper West regional capital. It's the first time that the event really had been taken to that part of the country, and NDP endorses Nana Konedu Agyeman-Rawlings as flag bearer, and work begins on oil gas projects. But we have Make Ghana winner of election 2016. Organized labor appeals to the president. And the back page, we have stories of Aduana winning at Dansuman, that's the Liberty Park, and then we also have Midiama overpowering All Stars. Wow, Stars, they were leading the league, but they're still leading with some 2 points. Second is Hearts, 18 points. Interesting. I think, did Hearts win? Did Hearts win? I think they haven't played yet. They're playing today. Today is a big clash, Kotoko and Hearts. I know Kotoko will win. I'm a Kotoko fan, so. The Ghanaian Times, it shall be well. President assures as workers complain about cost of living. And then we also have registration in Kukuum suspended. Kukuum. A town called Kukuum. All right. It says 2 jailed, 30 years for robbing 4 women. And ECU won't be sold out. A story again attributed to the president. But let's look at the registration stories. They're critical for us. And that story on page 3 says apparently, there was a violence because information reaching the Ghanaian Times indicated that the ongoing limited registration exercise was suspended in Kukuum in the Sonafo South district of the Bonafo region until further notice. But that was at the time the story was compiled, so we don't know whether the situation will persist or perhaps the registration will continue. And this follows violent clashes between supporters of the NDC and the New Patriotic Party on Friday. According to a source which pleaded anonymity, it all started when an MPP activist sent some youth to the Anglican Education Center in the area to register, but the NDC agents there refused to allow them to be registered, all resulting in a scuffle. And continues. Back page, we have its heart form against Kotoko's belief. and then Awal Mohammed for big match, and president to commission Cape Coast Stadium tomorrow. Why? We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But let's look at what the stories are, the various news portals. We start with Major Online, and so I'll quickly go to this very section, and then we'll look at it a little more from my perspective, a lot more brighter. Now we have some of the stories. It says construction of offshore oil and gas project begins. And then also we have Nanado welcomes Konedo to presidential race, very insightful. Then we have another burst pipe at McCarthy Hill, volumes of water going waste because gushing as it is. I guess the Ghana Water Company needs to take a real look at this very area. And then we have 14 CEOs brands that made the 2016 Joy Sports Invitational a blast, and for many of you who were following that very event, you should know that by now that the winner was a winner, and the winner will always be the winner, as it is. But now, next one, we look at Accra. Okay, Joy Business Van grabs award. We say congratulations to the Joy Business Van team, and they're doing great work. Accra Commercial Sex Workers reveal MPs. Ministers as their biggest clients. They didn't name journalists. They should have, because they are patronized by everybody, though, I guess. Technical University Bill receives presidential approval. And then the last story we'll be looking at on the page will be, okay, then we'll go to CTFM. It says EC strategic plan are necessary according to Kisley Hayford, and government won't privatize ECG. Mahama insists. You go up a little. It says Andreayo. He played Swansea's match against Liverpool on Sunday. He scored 2 goals. Great guy. I always like him. Great guy. Besides, he's making a lot of money too. So I'd even ask the fun of playing football as your profession and making a lot of money. And Afan Gats NDC Ashanti Region Office, party suspects it may be some hoodlums, etc. Now we have Rawlings calls for credible election, and 2 robbers jailed 15 years each for stealing handbags, and that's up there. We just have to do something about justice system. And Leicester City's draw with Manchester United put their title celebrations on hold. If they had won, then definitely. But Tottenham, I believe, will be playing today. Is it today? Yes. And if they lose the match, it means that Leicester City would know that, well, they almost or will be through very soon. And then we have the Africa page of the BBC. Kenya sets fire to huge ivory stockpile. But this really, millions of dollars in there, but they still destroyed it just to make a point. I guess that's the whole essence of it. Just to make a point. Make sure that, well, they don't continue poaching the elephant in the safaris, because the concern is that if the situation persists, then they will go a lot more extinct. You go up there, we have Circus Lions reach South Africa's sanctuary. We have also Somalia peacekeepers role for UK troops. Very interesting. And for many of you who know the story about foreign peacekeepers, or perhaps even Western peacekeepers in Somalia, you should know. You ever know the story about Black Hawk Down, what happened in 1993 during the Clinton administration, in which we also had US peacekeepers or US forces in Somalia at the time who were really in a bad situation, in a very ambushed situation, and in a warfare that they were just not prepared for. More like a Golorial situation it was. And we have some other highlights there. Let's go up. We have, you go up, you see mosque collapse kills 15 in Somalia, and then Nairobi collapse area evacuated. And so those are the summary of the stories we have on the portal for the Africa section of the BBC. Okay, so those are the stories we have, but we have also some of your comments, so let's read some of them for you, and then let's see what you also have been saying about a lot more of the stories this morning. Okay, so we're taking a break. When we come back, we'll have a lot more for you. We'll be right back.